Good morning. This is Don with Maranatha Adventures. As you notice, Sally's not with me today. This morning is that she's at the house. She's recovering from the tail end of having the flu, and believe it or not, she also got COVID. Somehow I skated out of that whole situation, so that's a good thing for me. But she will hopefully be over this in the next couple more days. Anyways, this video I'm bringing to you is about recovery and the recovery gear that we use. As you see right here, this is all the gear that we take with us. And there's at certain times the adventures that we go on, we take certain things more than others. And I'll get into that. The winch on the truck, Old Heavy, is an older model, Badlands, 12,000 pound. And the model is their ZXR. And what I've done with that winch is, when I first got that winch about 8 years back, I removed all the steel cable off of it and the cable tensioner. And then I turned around and re-spooled synthetic winch line on there. And what I have on there is Master Pool's classic 7/16 inch diameter synthetic winch line. There's 50 feet on there. And the reason why I have 50 feet on there is because that's all it holds on the drum when you go to that larger size of winch line. And I'll get into the reason why I went to a larger diameter winch line. It's all mounted on a Warren transformer brush guard mount, winch mount. And I'm using a factor 55 Fairlead on the front on that winch mount. And some people say 50 foot's not long enough. Yeah, that's correct. At times. That's why I carry Master Pool's 7/16 inch diameter winch line extension. And this particular extension has a minimum breaking strength of 29,300 pounds. I also carry a larger amount in length of US rope and recovery synthetic winch line extension in 1/2 inch diameter. And this particular length of 50 foot has 34,000 pounds of breaking strength. So I got plenty of length to get out there, whether I need a long pull or I need to rig up on multi-angled pulls using snatch blocks. And getting into the snatch blocks, I carry I don't know, it's an off-brand, but I carry 2 of them. And they're all designed for 1/2 inch diameter synthetic rope on down. And those particular snatch blocks can hold up to 22,000 pounds. Another piece of the gear that we carry is 20 foot length by 2 inch. And you'll see me in a video on a good chainsaw for overland recovery gear. And we usually use this particular thing, but we will use it in a pulling situation. But it's 20 foot length, 2 inch wide, and it has about 20,000 pounds of strength to it. But we usually use that for when I cut trees out of the trail and drag them out of the way. The other is that we carry 2 tree savers. One is both of them are 8 foot in length. One is made by Bulldog Winch, and the other is by Rhino USA. The other that we carry in here is D-ring shackles, solid. I like these. This is what I rig up on the Snatch Blocks or up on a tree saver. These are 7/8 inch. And believe it or not, these things have a breaking strength of 85,800 pounds. Good pair of gloves. I like leather. Sally, she likes the nylon or neoprene style gloves. Yes, she has her own set. What's in the bag here is my remote for the winch and extra batteries for the remote. And I also carry the corded winch controller also. Soft shackles. I carry the Bubba rope, the Gator jaw. This is their 3rd gen. These are 3/8 diameter. And I love these things. They really work good. There's times where I don't even want to use these things, but they have their place in my opinion. Bag. Carry it all in this husky bag. Believe it or not, it all fits in there and underneath the seat of the truck, rear seat of the truck. Recovery boards. I use the X-Bulls. I use them for getting us out of sticky situations, and I also use them for leveling the camper out. I have 2 sets. I have a set that I put inside of a bag. I put inside of a bag, a nylon bag. And then I got a set up on the camper. As you look in our last video when I did the mod for the 3rd duplicated runaway camper roof rack, I also came up with a mounting system for another set of X-Bull recovery boards. We use these. These have been a lifesaver for us. And I do take good care of them. I don't try to spin my tires on them. And I also get them down, and when they start getting pretty trashy looking, muddy or dirty, I'll take them out and I'll wash them down with soap and water. I'm all about keeping things clean and maintenance. These bad boys right here, I see very few people that do what we do carry a set of these. I don't carry these all the time. But when Sally and I are running back road discovery routes, the Trans-America Trail, especially in springtime when the South, like here in Arkansas, our extreme weather starts in February, goes all the way into midsummer, July. And we get a lot of rain. A bulk of our rain is during that time. And so when you're running it, come across washed out roads. These are billet 4x4, what they call a waffled bridging ladder. They're 12 inches by 48 inches by 2 inches. They're made out of a composite fiberglass material. And believe it or not, it has a traction resin on top of this. They're very rough on top for added traction. A company out of Oklahoma, Billet 4x4 out of Oklahoma. I believe they're in Tulsa. Hear that, Eric? The bottom line is that these things are great, but they have their place. And they will. And the reason for them is that during these, like I said, bulk of our weather, wet weather, rains, and they get this, and we will get flooded situations where it will wash out roads and put big gaps in there. This is where these bridging ladders work great. You just lay them over the gap. These is their X Ds, which is their extra duty. So they're designed for big, heavy vehicles, 1 tons and stuff like that. So each one weighs about 29 pounds. And so what it does, it makes you so you don't have to think about using recovery boards to try to bridge. And believe me, I have tried to use those. I even double them up. That's why I have always carried 2 sets to double them up, to use them as a bridging ladder. But there's not enough length to them. And this gives me the length that I need. So when Sally and I are running BDRs, the Trans-America Trail, they will go up there. And I made some photographs, had some photographs of showing them these mounted up on the new setup I have up here in the back. These are great. The cost on them, they're about $350. But in my opinion, they're worth it, because they're there when you need it. It's just like when I was talking about the video on camper, doing the walk around, and why I still use a farm jack or high lift jack. It's there when I need it, and I've used it a couple of times in situations where I needed it. So it's a nice tool to have. I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and then need it. And my father always used to tell me, you never have enough insurance. This is what this is. It's insurance. Chainsaw. I did a video on why chainsaws is a good addition to overland gear or off-roading gear. Husqvarna is my brand. I have a lot of Husqvarnas on the farm I use, chainsaws. They never let me down. And I use a cordless. They don't make this particular model anymore. The 120i has a 14-inch bar. I carry an extra battery. Designated gloves. Extra chain. Bar oil. This is a wood-eating son of a gun here. Carry the file, the tool, the need to sharpen and everything and replace the blade. Chain. It's just a great addition. You'll see on the video, chainsaw video, how good it cuts through there. They came out with that one that's larger now in diameter. I forget what model. It's like the 250 or 240 or something like that. Don't quote me. But chainsaw is a must. We take that everywhere where we go, whether we're looking for campsites or just driving around getting a little trail therapy, or even on our travels with pulling the camper. Now I want to talk about all this needs to have care or maintenance. And so care and maintenance, that includes your winch line, your extensions, winch line extensions, snatch blocks, recovery straps, tree savers, shackles, whether they're soft or hard. They all need. My winch lines, when I spool them out on the truck, I use cold water and a soft bristle nylon brush. And I also examine to look for places where there is fraying, cuts, or glossy spots. Glossy spots is where the line has heated up through friction, overstressed, As soon as I see those lines, I immediately will change out. It's the same thing with the winch line extensions. It's just a must. We need to go through. There's nothing worse when you're sitting there doing a pull and all of a sudden you have a failure. And the examination is one thing, is the abrasion. And abrasion will cause a lot of fraying and loose fibers coming, breaking loose on that. The other is that the fact that Friday we picked up old Heavy out from the body shop. And so she's been repainted on that whole entire side. Can't even tell where they blended the paint. They actually matched everything perfectly on it. I can't get over that. And I'll be posting some pictures on the end of this video. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the gear that we carry underneath the seat for recovery. There's other gear that I carry underneath there, such as a toolkit, a full-on blown trauma first aid kit, my air compressor, which is a Viar 400P single piston, my airing up and airing down, which is an end deflate 2-hose system, and a set of jumper cables that are 20 foot long. And but all this right here is most of this, excluding the bridging ladders, is what we normally carry with us all the time on our trips with the camper, or just going out and doing a little trail therapy, as in running some routes, looking for some new camp spots, or just getting out there and looking at God's creation and running some trails. But if we're going to be running BDRs or even some of the national forest roads during the spring and our rainy seasons here in the South, like in Arkansas, then we'll put a set of these bridging ladders in there just in case. But anyways, I hope you liked the video. It's a short one. Say a prayer for Sally so she can get over this. I'd appreciate that very much, and she would too. Please like and subscribe to our channel. I want to thank those who subscribed and those who continually follow us as viewers, and those who comment. Also, stick around. I have a little devotion out of the book of Isaiah. I think you'll like it. It's encouraging and comforting to know. God bless. We'll see you on the next video. This devotion will be coming out of the book of Isaiah. I'll be reading from chapter 43, verse 2. I'll also be reading from the English Standard Version. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. God knows that in this world we will face many trials and challenges, but through His Word we can find encouragement and comfort. In Isaiah 43:2, you will notice that the word when is used, not if. That life situations can take us through deep, rough waters where life feels like we're drowning in it, to the point where we cannot even breathe. We often think that trusting God means being immobile, but in reality, it's about surrender and humility so we can learn to be teachable. How is this done? By trusting in Him, leaning into God in His Word and in prayer. When we act in this way, we are gaining an understanding of His character. If we start and end each day in God's presence, giving Him the time He deserves, we will build resilience, which is a spiritual endurance. The second part of this verse, when we walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. The hardships we face is the very thing that God uses to shape us into who He calls us to be. Why do I say this? It requires us to trust Him no matter what we are facing. I'm talking about we may think the situation we are facing is hopeless by the consuming fear, but God reassures us we will not be consumed by the issues we are facing. What God is doing is increasing our maturity in faith, that we will become more refined, purified, and strengthened, removing all the impurities that keeps us from maturing in Him. We will become more trustworthy, stronger, resilient, more in line with His will, which is faithfulness. God is not limited by time or space. Matter of fact, He is everywhere. He doesn't ever leave us. He is always available. He never gets tired of hearing from us. He will not be annoyed by our neediness. What He will do is protect us, guide us, teach us, mature us, love us, and encourage us so we can experience His peace. This is hope, trust, and faith. This is a personal relationship with Jesus that the world doesn't understand. Lastly, when we release our worries to God, we stop trying to control the outcome. Then we start trusting Him to work it out. When we place our trust in God, we open ourselves up to hope and resilience. This allows us to view challenges as opportunities for spiritual growth rather than obstacles. Remember, fear is not from God, it is from Satan. As believers in Christ, we can overcome fear and defeat Satan every time by standing on God's word, trusting Him. If God is for us, who can be against us? I hope someone gets something out of this devotion. I really do. Give God the time He deserves. God bless.